I give you an example, maybe something very practical. So I have next to my desk a very old paper now because it's had so much food and coffee and things. But this is my success list or my greatest achievements list. Okay. And so I put on this paper everything I'm really proud of. And I've got things like a wonderful wife and 2 great kids, a company that reflects me and my values, spending a year in Pakistan, having the courage to be me every day. So this is not my law degree or my, partnership, very personal things. And I created this list and I leave it next to my computer. And I don't have my bottle here because it's in the dishwasher, but I have a bottle sitting on this list, which has water in it. And during the day, I fill up my glass and I've got tea here, but I drink water. When I see the list, I am conscious and I am drinking all of my successes, all of my achievements that I'm most proud of. Okay. And that is going down to the inner child, the little Jonathan, who's still 7 years old, who has all of these fears and these distortions that I mentioned. And it's giving him confidence that he has his place in this world and he's allowed to be here. And more than that, he's allowed to thrive and help the world become a better place. Okay. So when I see the list, I'm drinking my success according to what that means to me. When I'm coaching or advising or doing something and I pour without looking at the list, my subconscious is still getting the same message. So a very practical thing for people who lack inner confidence. A lot of us look very confident on the outside, but probably 90% of the people I'm privileged to coach and top leaders around the world, entrepreneurs, sports people, 90% lack inner confidence or have the imposter syndrome. 90%. And I was asking myself, but why all these people look so confident and successful, but they're all telling me they lack inner confidence, until I realized that was the core driver of their success. Because these people get up every morning and say, I have to start again. I have to prove my worth. And so these are people you don't need to motivate and push out the door. Rather, you have to hold them back because they're like a stallion galloping, in the thing. And so what that does is that generates performance day after day because they've got an internal engine linked to inner confidence. And so this exercise actually helps you close the gap between the external confidence and the inner confidence, which is preventing a lot of them from enjoying their success. And they share that with me. So I say, okay, you're going to create your success list. You're going to buy yourself a nice bottle and you're going to drink water all day long to start bridging the gap between your outside confidence and your inner confidence so that you find alignment and coherence.
What is perhaps funny about this or coincidental is that this, as I've told you, right, this is unscripted. I'm not asking you set questions or anything like that. But one of the things I wrote down on my list here before we started was to make sure to ask you how you define success, because that comes up quite frequently. And I appreciate hearing you describe it as being driven by your lack of confidence. I was that person. So it completely resonates that anyone would call me a high achiever. I would call myself a high achiever, but it was driven by wanting approval, wanting to achieve, not wanting to disappoint people, right? Looking at your list. And that's really important to realize, because when you stop chasing that external validation, your life is so much more simple and more meaningful. And I want to, for listeners, draw attention to a couple of other guests, because we had a guest, Renee Rivas, who talked about, I have my glass of water, right? He talked about speaking your intentions over your water and drinking them in, which I thought was a beautiful concept. And then we had another guest, her name was Paula Thomas, who talked about creating your own win list. And one of the things I've shared is that I worked with my therapist and I struggled with, okay, how do I overcome this perfectionism? And she said, make a list of everything you're proud of that has nothing to do with accomplishment.
Mm.
And that was such a valuable exercise. And this is why I love that you shared your list, because you had things on there like that you have a relationship with your wife and a good relationship with your children, and that you got to spend time in Pakistan. And I thought it helped me to realize that all of the things that make me who I am and that bring me joy have nothing to do with the degrees I've earned or the awards I've gotten or anything like that, right? It's all these other, it's connection, it's relationships with other people, but also with myself. It's experiences. And so it's such a great example. And I'm so glad that you shared that.